What I want to do now is start building a set of checks that I want to do against a particular target. So I'm going to set my target here. And I'm going to use that as my target. And I want to set some audit plugins. We'll check for blind SQL injection. We can do some checking for some command injections. I'm going to do some generic checks. And I'm going to do some SQL injection here. And we'll do cross-site scripting, cross-site tracing, and cross-site request forgery. Now I want to do brute forcing, which is going to see if it can guess the username and password. And we're going to do some discovery here. Now, one of the nice things that W3Af has is it has a directory brute force utility or tool. And what that does is it goes through and tries to find directories that may be hidden by not having links from other pages in the website. So that can discover directories that are there that you may not actually see just doing a spider. So there are a number of plugins under here. We can do some things with Google. We can use the Google hacking database. We can check for PHP, and I actually want to do that. And I'm going to run Picto, which is a Python version of Nicto. And I think that's all I'm going to do right here. Although you can see there's a lot of different plugins that are available. There's a URL fuzzer and a URL list. We can look for user directories, can check for differences in websites. There are evasion plugins that may allow you to get through different web application firewalls or other security checks. There's grep and mangle and a lot of different things. But right now I'm just going to go with the very simple set of plugins that we've got here. Now all I have to do is click start, and it immediately dumps us over to the log tab, and we start to see that we're getting some responses here. So now we can go over to results and we can see what we've got. Looks like we found something with PHP info. So there was a PHP info file that was found, and we've got some vulnerabilities based on some different PHP settings. Now what I can do is with W3Af, there's actually an exploit tab. And what I can do is go over to the vulnerabilities and see whether there are different exploits that are available, whether it's a DAV shell or a command injection using eval, a file upload, doing some SQL map or SQL web shell, remote file include shell. So there are potential ways that you may be able to gain access to the system through web application vulnerabilities. And W3Af actually gives you the ability to quickly jump in and see whether there's something there. So I could do an exploit all vulns, for example. And I could run that against a remote file shell include. And at the moment, we don't have any vulnerabilities that appear to be exploitable. But you can see we're chugging through here, finding a number of different vulnerabilities, and eventually we'll get to a point where we'll see some results from the brute forcing attempt on the login form, and we'll get a number of other vulnerabilities just because there are a lot of vulnerabilities on this particular web page. But you can see very clearly all of the results here in the log tab, and if you want just the short and sweet, you go to the results tab, and then once you're done you can hop over to the exploit tab and see whether there's anything exploitable, or whether you just want to dig a little bit further into some of the results and see what we've got.